John, what is our that's the part of someone who is successful in the
This one?
Yeah.
Dress like someone who is successful in that job.
Okay.
If I'm going to interview for a corporate position, I should dress like a successful corporate person. If I'm going to interview for a construction job, I must dress appropriately for that construction job. I should have all my tools and my hard hat and everything, right? So appropriate for the job. These are from the US and the UK. So some of them are different from the Indian context. Well, first tell me which ones are not appropriate for the Indian context. Which are not appropriate.
Thank you note, it never happens in India.
Yeah. So this one you don't do?
No, never.
This one? We're going to do this maybe this afternoon. I'll show you what this means. I'll explain it this afternoon. You'll see. Handshake.
It is not avoided.
We're going to practice it. Exactly.
Yeah, it is from the other side. It's always from the other side.
Okay, here are the don'ts. I think you mentioned them. What about this one? Yeah. For instance, if he is he's the employer, I'm the applicant, and he asked me, why would you like to work for the company? He asked me.
I would like that.
I don't know. Maybe. I want a job, maybe. But I act like I can take or leave the job. Somebody said this, said don't bluff.
Don't bluff the ground.
Vague, unsubstantiated assertions. What does that mean?
Without any proofs or evidence.
Like exaggeration. Do you know, can you work on computers? Oh yeah, I know computers. I love computers. No problem. But maybe I don't know anything about computers, right? Joke around. These, of course, maybe never in the Indian context. Again, this is US or UK. Sometimes the job interview, it might be over lunch or dinner. And so that's why they say don't order an alcoholic drink if it's a job interview over a meal, if there's a meal.
What about the share any weaknesses? Don't share any weaknesses.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. So, yeah.
And we speak about this strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute, how you can answer those questions. Okay, so you took your advice from your friend, you got your resume ready, you're not chewing gum, you polished your shoes, you researched the company, and now you're ready to go for the first interview. And again, we're looking at this college, what was it called? The Hancock?
John Institute of Technology.
John Institute of Technology. Okay. So you're ready for your first interview.
Yeah.
So I go for the interview. What usually happens in the first interview? Tell me the process. So from the minute I walk into the door, what happens? Oh, and by the way, these do's and don'ts, I see you have some similar lessons here.
Yes.
Look at how we did it now. Did I give a lecture?
No.
No. It was group work. And I took it from the students, and then I said, great, now let's check to see if your answers were correct. Yeah? So all of these techniques you can use with your students when you're teaching this material. Okay, so I'm going for the interview.
But they may not be able to give all the points that they have.
Fine, fine. But they will give some of the points.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
And if you have 40 people, 40 students, you can get a lot of points. Because everybody will know something. Maybe they don't know how to say it in English, but then you can help them. And if they're working in groups, then they have to think about it also. And then they'll get some ideas.
Because boys will have a better idea, but girls.
But you imagine a situation, say tomorrow, imagine some company is coming to our campus. You want to get ready. What should you do? And then the girls, they can think too. They know.
We can even, we can do one thing. We can just enact an interview without telling anything of this sort. What's going to happen? We can just say that, okay, tomorrow I'm going to conduct an interview. Just come one by one, or just do whatever you want to with me, and I'm going to ask you questions. And I can, just see how they're going to behave, and they can also observe themselves how they're going to behave. And the next day, I can start the session of, now what happened yesterday? What were you doing?
Yeah.
How were you acting? What were the things you were careful about? Because I've already announced that we're going to have an interview this week.
Yeah, so that's good. So there's two ways to do it. One, you can demonstrate the situation and then analyze it. Or this way, then you can analyze the situation and then do the demonstration. Yeah, both ways.
There are some videos on internet regarding
Yeah.
interviews and
Yeah, we can also
Yeah.
show
2-3 minute
this.
interviews, and you can show them and
Yeah.
you can ask them.
Exactly. Exactly. Or demonstrations.
Yeah.
Good interview, bad interview, like that.
We can ask question, is this guy going to be selected? If selected, why?
Exactly. There you go.
Like,
And again, you're not giving the answers to the students, you're taking the answers from the students. We can use this motto.
Don't tell.
When I'm trying to teach new information, as much as I can, I try to take it from the students and listen to them. Like I've been doing in this workshop. I'm not just telling you, always I ask you, what are your ideas? And then I don't take all of your ideas because some of them are wrong. I write the good ideas on the board, right? So that's how we do it, listen. Okay, so I'm going to the first interview. And so imagine there is the interviewer, I'm the applicant. Tell me what happens step by step. What's the first thing? Who's the getting? Okay. I push the drawer gently and then can I call it the greeting?
Yes.
So some introductions.
Meeting and greeting.
And then do we start the interview right away? How do we begin? Okay. And then after that?
Sometimes they ask you how you or how you
an applicant should read all the members on the interview board, and if there are women, he should interview first. He should greet them first.
So I'm going to call the first step greetings and small. And then? And then very soon, you have the self-introduction. Very soon, they say, so, tell me about yourself. Who are you? So the interviewer will probably have your resume. So he says, so tell me about yourself. You talk a little bit. And then he might begin asking some more specific questions. And now, in the American or the UK context, after the interviewer asks you questions, then often they say, now, do you have any questions for me about the job? But the other teachers have told me this is not the case in India.
No, sometimes it's outsourced.
Sometimes, so they might.
It's an occasional thing.
So you might have a chance to ask them some questions about the job. You might. Very. And then the last step, leave taking. I'll call it farewell. Fine. So that's the first interview, the stages. Or that's one way of breaking it down.
We conduct interviews for one company from Bangalore,
Yes.
Institute of Language Management.
Yes?
And usually they expect students to ask questions at the end.
Good.
For example, about educational processes and all.
Good. Good. So the students should at least be prepared to ask a couple of questions because they might get that question.
Yeah.
The interviewer might say, now, do you have any questions? Because if the interviewer says that, what's the worst answer that you can give? If I'm the boss and I say, well, okay, we like your resume, everything's fine, do you have any questions for me? What's the worst answer?
No, we don't have.
They say, no, no questions. No, that's fine. No questions. Because it sounds like you're not interested. It's best if you have one or two questions prepared. Always. Always. Because if you say, nah, no questions, thank you, goodbye, it's not good. Okay, so we're going to go through these now step by step.
So I have a small doubt.
Yes.
I don't know how to ask this question. What
Okay.
about the salary, sir?
Yeah.
What do you all think?
In some notifications, they mention the salary.
Yeah.
Some companies say that just no, it didn't take you. So how to break that?
So he's asking about when should the applicant bring up the question of salary? When?
At the third stage.
So in all the material that I've read, the rule of thumb is in the first interview, you do not talk about salary.
Yes, exactly.
You do not. That's all the information that I've read. In the first interview, you should not, the applicant should not ask about the salary. But the interviewer might give information about the salary. But this is just a general rule. It's for the US and the UK. It might be different in India. I don't know, is it? In India, can the applicant ask how much money he will make?
No.
In India?
No, it never happens.
You don't ask.
Finally, after evaluation of everything, then there can be a negotiation.
The negotiation. So that would come in the second or the third interview.
Third.
Yeah. So that would come later. So let's look at this first step now.
And then group discussion is another interview, personal interview. For us,
Okay, so here come sit here. So he's the boss. He has my resume. Sit. He's the boss, the employer. He has my resume. Again, it's for that job that we saw, right? The college. And we're just doing the first step, the very first step. There's his office, here's the door. I'm the applicant, what do I do?
Knock on the door, take permission.
Okay, so knock on the door.
Take permission.
Yes? Yes. Okay. So, hello, may I come in?
Yes, wonderful.
And then?
Shake. Shake. You can't
Greeting.
even idea.
Greetings here.
Firm shake.
Who should initiate the greeting?
Interview also.
So the teachers have told me that in the Indian context, the employer should initiate the greeting.
Never.
Really? The applicant says,
Not greeting. But you have to ask you of not shake hand. It has to
Shake
greet.
hand. Firm shake hand.
Shake hand is a different thing, but greeting.
The applicant has to greet first.
okay.
And the employer first.
Yeah.
Read first. Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the American context?
So what about the handshake then?
No, the applicant cannot compromise.
Sir, it may take place at the end. What is it?
Go to the handshake.
The employer will engage.
So if the employer offers his hand.
Yeah, then only.
That is simple.
And then,
The employer has to ask the applicant to sit down.
No, the applicant has to wait. Has to wait till it is
He
offered.
has to wait. He offers.
okay, then you sit,
Keep smiling.
Boss is a boss.
Keep smiling.
keep smiling. Okay.
Another most important thing is you should not show your certificates until you are asked for.
Ah, good.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not hand over the resume. Copy.
When you said you wait until you're asked.
Wait.
And then when we're doing the small talk, how should I behave?
Keep eye
Sometimes
contact.
in
Keep eye
interviews, you
contact.
know what happens? They ignore your presence and they go on doing whatever they want.
Right.
Even if it is the candidate to wait until they offer him something, you have to talk to him.
Fine.
So we need to wait. Waiting is most important in the interviews.
Okay.
Show patience.
Yeah, that's also tested.
Patience.
There may be one or more
If
interviews.
the employer offers he or
There is
who
only
wants
one
to do it.
interview. There is only one interview. You can have it.
No problem. Still
You
we
can
need to
access.
wait. Suppose he doesn't recognize you, will be talking on phone even when you enter.
Okay, so now,
Willfully you will.
so now I'm seated, and now we're doing the small talk. How should I act during the small talk?
Eye contact.
And what about my posture?
Yeah, that's the most important. The way it is down is very important.
What else about the posture?
Your legs. Don't cross the legs.
Don't cross the legs.
Don't lean on the table. Don't lean on the table.
Yes.
Don't keep your hands in the air.
You should not fold your hands.
Yes.
Don't shake the hands. Legs. Don't keep your hands in the air.
Don't fold your hands.
Sir, boss.
Don't fold up. Fold your hands.
Maybe like this. Oh, this, okay, close your eyes.
Don't shake your legs.
Can we say don't fidget?
Yeah.
Don't fidget. Fidget.
Speak clearly. Speak clearly.
Yeah.
Your mouth.
Is the lunch ready yet?
Yeah.
If they don't get the question right,
Besides all this, I think we can say one thing. When he is seated in the chair, he has to keep the file or the folder on his lap. That gives him, avoids all these problems.
Right.
Don't play with the paper.